So this conversation is part of Coherence 2025 MVP. I am here with Kahlil and Arye, but primarily with Kahlil of Terra-Lux. How do you say the name of the project?
Yeah, Terra-Lux, that was correct. That's the overarching company, and the software that we're mostly focused on is called the Spatial Network. It's a mixed reality project management system and agentic, what do you call it? You got
Marketplace.
agentic marketplace. There you go.
Yeah.
Agentic Marketplace. Tell me more.
So, originally I come from the virtual tour space, but as code has gotten more elaborate, that 360-degree virtual tour content management system has become more to support land-based enterprises, as that's been the nature of the clients. Land-based enterprises, a lot of them are either funded, pre-funded, but are having to create a pipeline of reporting, planning, and strategizing around complex operations. Our software is there to use AI, but also our collective experience in working ecotourism and things of related fields to create tool sets that make it easier for our type of people. A lot of people who are land-based stewards are not the most tech savvy. They have a hard time with being organized. So we're really kind of coming at it to solve those problems of the regenerative enterprise space. And the agentic marketplace is really a place for us to launch a developer community of people who are kind of have two wings. Some of them are engineers, but also into permaculture biodynamics, and we're going to make tools to kind of really be focused on those. And the agentic tools can use agent to agent technology, chaining node-based systems like Natin and things like that to kind of do large actions that move them closer to investor preparedness or fundraising preparedness or reporting if they're already funded.
Super exciting. And so I heard AI.
Yep.
Are you using Web3 for parts of it? How do you see different technologies weaving together?
We're creating the shell for that interaction to take place. So we are working with a token system. The token system will help us monitor the usage of the different AI tools. And we are open to blockchain them, but it's not our first focus. Um, we're more on the mixed reality location services, like the technology side of it, and we do have a lot of room for expansion into the Web3, but we're not focused on it based on the skills of our team, but also we felt just to kind of step away from the field a little bit as it's volatile and just really be focused more on our client pipeline, which is actual businesses who work more with fiat and are just in, the mainstream commercial space. So yeah, that's a little bit of the answer, why we're not doing Web3 right away, but we will.
So, how many clients do you have and what kind of clients?
Well, we have an existing business, a 15-year-old business. It's called the German Kitchen Center if you want to see it. It's a very, very luxurious kitchen business, and they have showrooms across the country. So we kind of use that's our first big client. It's an internal client because Mayan, my partner, he's owns these two business side by side. Um, but then our other client base is more as individuals of a team of eight, bringing in whether it be eco lodges or other regenerative businesses. And so I would say that like we're at like a low five amount, like say five steady clients that are like giving us actual work. But like Arye said, that we're in the launching of our product time now. So this is kind of when we're looking for new clients.
Amazing, cool. So, since this is I'd love to ask more, but since this is the coherence onboarding conversation,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what do you understand how do you understand coherence and what questions do you have?
Well, my understanding of coherence is super, super minimal, and I will apologize for that because I do like to usually do my due diligence before I have a call. But because I'm flying to LA on Monday and have this deadline, I've been so focused I haven't had a chance to look through your stuff. So I'd love for you to just kind of give the 101 so I could have a deeper understanding about coherence.
All right, I'm happy to. So, where do I start? Or actually, maybe we can test Ari. Let's see what Ari will come up with, and then I can add whatever has been missed or whatever, and this way Ari gets to participate.
Nice.
Well, I guess it's like a way of bringing the conversation into like a decentralized platform where there's a lot of these different projects that are wanting to use AI kind of wisely. And I think permaculture is one of these words that has a lot of meaning behind it that often gets used. And so people who are studying and wanting to apply systems like permaculture design to technology and land-based projects to have these kinds of conversations online. And Coherence is like a platform to record and distribute and kind of build on those conversations. Yeah, and kind of build this kind of like way of having kind of decentralized conferences as a way of finding solutions, and it's kind of more broadly like kind of an open source community that is wanting to apply AI wisely, and talk about that and learn about that is my understanding.
Okay.
Good. So yes, and it's a new kind of it's a new format for creating online gatherings, right? Anytime we get a new technology, we do the same old shit, just with the new technology, right? My favorite example is, I hope you're still not getting, but for a long time we got these emails of, I scanned this contract, can you please print it, sign it, scan it, and email it back to me?
Right.
Which is like, it's a digital flow, but it's not a digital flow. And we've done the same thing with how we gather online. Games innovate, but nobody else innovates, right? Like everybody is like, oh, we know how to get people together. It's called a conference. One person speaks and everybody else stands around and listens. And I'm in a Zoom room for an hour with somebody talking and with 100 other people I can't interact with. It's not a good use of people's time, right?
Yeah.
If you want me to watch it talk, send me a YouTube link. But one-on-one interaction like this is almost always good and is rich. So combining you can think of it as ecosystem scale, build in public, inviting people to shared conversations, interesting people around a theme with certain questions, and then feeding it all into AI and figuring out how we can get collective intelligence out of it. So the benefit for the people talking is you get to meet interesting people already based on what you described. I have a bunch of people I'd love you to introduce you for having a conversation with. I think hi-fi is an important one to understand and see how the ideas fit. And then, yeah, these conversations get recorded, published.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should be simple.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I think it's really, really cool for two reasons. Well, I think this is what we're seeing now, right? Like we're kind of in this mycelial network industry now, and we're all like friends at a cafeteria and we're shaking hands for the first time. And there's so much overlap that it's easy to talk about. On Monday, I go to AWE. I'm a volunteer there. It's one of the biggest mixed reality conferences in the world. It's called Augmented World Expo. A very big example of like you go to an event and there's so much depth. It's so hard. Sometimes you feel like it goes by like this because like you could talk to anyone and then you're like, holy shit. And there's just like because the immersive reality hacking space is like our cafeteria, but it's adjacent to it. And I just see that there needs to be more solidification of the events to allow them to truly optimize what's going on. So that's one thing that's related to it. But the other thing is that as soon as I come back, we're going to be doing a big event here with incredible people that really need to have this, what you're talking about. Well, we're meeting and there's just assessment of what we're doing because there are people in all the biofi space, people in the UN space, people in like the funding, flow funding arena, and also regenerative enterprise space. All 20 high caliber people are all coming here. And we're going to be really mapping. This is what we're calling it, a mapping event. We're really mapping our businesses. A lot of them are from the West Coast, some of them from the East. So we're just cross-pollinating our bioregional efforts. So those two things are very much need that kind of support. So that's the two things I think of right off the bat when I hear this, what you're talking about.
Yep. And I am really interested because for me, AI is still one of my magic wands. So I'm like, we have all the conversations and then magic wand, and we all become collectively intelligent. But there's lots of smarter people than me who've been working hard on this. And my hope is to hook up. We're talking to a bunch of really interesting projects to collaborate. So this is also very much the goal, right? I have this mental model of conversation, relationship, collaboration. You can't skip levels, right? And if we have better conversations, we'll build better relationships, we'll have better collaboration.
Absolutely.
I think in general, there's lots of people doing cool stuff in the ecosystem, but nobody is super well funded, like Silicon Valley level funded, which means
Right.
we don't really have the bandwidth to have many projects repeating each other. You know, if there's 10 projects doing X, that's probably too many. Maybe two or three is enough.
It's true. Yep.
So at least people for inspiration, learning, of course, but also knowing and seeing where there's opportunities to collaborate or, yeah, work together.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, we're you know, my business partner, he's not very technically advanced. You know, I take care of most of the technological stuff. And now with having Arye here and then two other people we brought on, our main kind of synergy between us is the idea that we are using open source technology and we are having meetings with other tech companies to be interoperable, and we're deciding data schemas that we agree upon. So I think this is a great time for, yes, we need to share developers, and we will. You know, the Agentic Marketplace is open source, and what we would say is that as bioregionalists, we can see that instances of our open source technology as a conglomerate, and that they would be able to be spun up and hosted in local bioregions. Because you're right, we can't beat Silicon Valley. They're funded by three-letter operations. They're essentially government entities, and that's how they've been able to create this massive, you know, algorithm kind of infrastructure. But for us, we really need to follow nature. We're the mycelial network, right? So I can see the future is large webs of software that are actually ethos of entire developers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like every little tiny applet is cross-compatible with every single bioregional code base. And we're kind of, you know, really sharing a rich open source plugin ethos that allows us all to get credit and money for our development as individuals and plugin developers. I'd like to bring up that I'm telling people, and I know this seems obvious to some in technology, but look at WordPress. Look at WordPress, how WordPress.com went to WordPress.org, went to WordPress multi-site. They created the largest open source developer community ever seen on the planet. And although some people say, oh, WordPress is bloated and, you know, it's just like anybody can do it, it's easy, you know, say what you want about it. Like it itself is a great model for what we can do with this next regenerative software movement, because it is a small family. Like if we put us all together, we wouldn't even be the size of, say, Adobe or Google. You know what I mean? Like our industry as a whole would be a quarter of Google's engineering staff. That's all of us in one room. So there's plenty, and we really, really can do it together. So we're thinking about it, and our two developers, they're jumpers. They're like gonna be consulting with other people. Like I feel like Jacob and Greg are gonna be like the agentic people to like templatize an AI agent stack and give it to you and be like, put coherence in it and make it work. Get it running, throw it back in the market. All right, Coherence. What do you do? Oh, I'll do a couple things. Because that's what we're doing here. We don't know. We're starting up these new robots and we're like, what is this fucking thing gonna do? We know it's gonna do some shit. But we're jumping in right now and we're gonna experiment.
Uh, yes, so definitely that's exactly what coherence is about. Let me go. Let me finish my script and then we can freeform. But I want to make sure I get through all of the questions,
Yes.
of which there's only one that's really we have to cover is what kind of projects would you like to connect with in coherence? What kind of conversations would you like to have?
People who are working on open source coding and engineering, people who are working in fundraising, philanthropy, venture capitalism, people that are already funded and needing help with their reporting. I know these are very, very slim points. But then as like a larger business, needs support with getting their vision out there. And if it's land based, like with the 3D scanning and stuff, like there's a very specific type of business that could benefit from our platform. It's kind of like Kickstarter and Farmville were together. So that's kind of the businesses that we're really looking for.
Cool. Uh, I think, I mean, getting the word out there, definitely you should talk to Alex from pre-branding. She is very much about that, solidifying the vision.
Nice.
I think for the structure of software reflecting collaboration and definitely everybody should know what Hi-Fi is doing. Just,
Yep, I'm well aware of Hi-Fi. I know some of the people there. Yep.
yeah,
You
cool.
said hypo, not
Hi.
I thought high five before hypo. Oh yeah,
Oh, hi. Wait, no, I'm thinking about the social network place, right?
high five.
No, I'm thinking
Hilo.
Hilo. Sorry, never mind. Wrong thing.
Hilo also is interesting, but Hi-Fi is kind of more modern.
More modern. Is it the same? Okay, I'll take a
But
look at
it's
it.
not about the social part, it's about the agreements and the DAO Web3 part. Social is
Yep.
an add-on to that, right? I mean, I
Hmm.
think this is a key thing is going forward, we're going to move from social network to collaboration networks, right?
100.
This is
Yep.
what we're looking at. And also what I see will be needed is
Hmm.
frameworks and systems that enable humans and AI agents to work together as equals, as peers,
Yep.
not equals, peers.
Yep. We've been setting that up actually yesterday because we're partnered up with a company called 360 World, and you can check them out. And they have deploying human assistants. So you can deploy AI assistants on our platform, but there's also deploy human assistant. And pretty much they turn their phone on and their phone becomes a bubble on your project and they can call in and then direct you to do different tasks through your phone. So that's going to be a human assistant. So yeah, we want to deploy as many humans as we deploy AI agents. So that's kind of the concept of yin and yang, how we can bring
Have
it
you
together.
seen the movie Hyper Reality, the short?
I
It came
haven't,
out
but
9 years ago, but it's still the most prescient example of what a hellhole dystopia of agents telling you what to do and a gamified gig economy.
oh my God, it was probably the inspiration from these guys. They have an altar with that movie on it.
Yes,
It's
yes,
like-
yes, yes. There is an altar in the thing. So, and I was just thinking about this today and looking at it, and I was like, this is amazing. And we're thinking about this is the dystopia. We're thinking of the protopia version of that, right? The
Okay.
one where it's happy. And so I was like, fuck, we have to make that movie because that's going to be amazing promotion, right? That thing really went viral. We need to go viral our vision of what this could be. So I looked, I found the movie, I found the guy's website. On his website, it had a phone number. I took his phone number, contacted him on WhatsApp, said like, "Can you, is it okay to talk? Can you talk?" So I'm chatting with him, and he said like, "I've had my phone number on my website for 10 years. The first time somebody has WhatsApped me through it." I'm like, that's an obvious thing. So I want to get the guy on board and build a little project to create the regenerative OS protopia version of that reality.
That's that's awesome. Well, that's the kind of thing that we want. I mean, what we can picture is like just all of us creating like a really good template base to be able to whip these apps out. That's really the age we're at. And like the last hackathon we did was AI. It was a ecotech immersion, environmental ideas. We made a plant robot, but it was really teaching people how to use AI in their development process. Where people finally have brilliant minds, can get turn that into software. It's just in the last 3 months where it's become accessible to people to do it, and we're teaching how to do that. So that's part of our methodology.
Do you
Um,
have an online course or how do you teach it? Because I need to learn it like in the
So
next.
I went to the MIT hackathon this year, and then my business partner was like, find the best coder you can and try to recruit him. That was my mission. I'm like, okay, I don't recruit people. Like that's not on my resume, but I tried, and I ended up actually getting some. And he's like a brother now. We brought him to the first Ecotech immersion, and he did AI workshop on development. And so he's now kind of hired on as my coaching my code coach, and he's amazing. So yeah, he's kind of like the AI workshop coder. So where are you, by the way? Where do you live?
I'm in Portugal,
You're
just
in Portugal. Oh, really cool.
hour north of Lisbon.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So, well, if you ever make it to the States, and more welcome come there, but maybe you're right. Maybe we need to have some sort of telepresence when he does a workshop. Someone could just kind of zoom in and check out what he's doing.
Yeah.
And also, we're going to be sharing a lot of our code templates. So you'll learn just by looking at the template. That's what we hope. Because imagine that, right? Even being able to spin up a template into Bolt as a customer so they can have their starting point.
Yeah, I mean, software development kits.
Exactly.
I'm
Open
like
source software
super
development kit.
inspired to see
We could just
what's
offer
available right
them,
now.
get them in GitHub, spin them up on your own machine, and then we can show you how to talk to it. So you can be like, I have this idea. Okay, this is how you have to prompt it. The way you prompt it, the way you set up your pre-prompt or system prompt. That's kind of like what I learned mostly from my coder is how to put those perfect system prompts. For us, it's like your full brand guidelines are in there. So every software you make looks perfect, looks exactly like your brand. And then you have
Oh,
the delivery.
I would love
And
to have maybe a separate call going through and going through your stack and your process because I need to develop at least a prototype for the Coherence app. So I'm really thinking of how to make it the world's best onboarding journey experience. So really, it feels much more like a game than a
that's, yep,
business.
that's what we do. We can help you through that process. And I mean, of course, we would love to go back to mine and be like, we got a little side job through Terra-Lux. So if you're open to, even a small fee for us to do it for you as prototypers for you, that would be a real honorary way for us to kick off a friendship and working relationship. And of course, we would keep our
This
pretty
is
small.
something that I have to figure out over the next few months of how much and what kind of funding and from where I can get.
Sure, absolutely. And we can
But
start
I'm
small.
also I want to see at least for the specs and stuff. I need to get through the first version myself.
Yeah.
Working a bit with ChatGPT, though, once you start going deeper and deeper, ChatGPT starts losing things you talked about half an hour before. So I'm still figuring out how to manage that. All right.
All right.
So I will say welcome to Coherence 2025 MVP,
Okay.
and click stop recording here, and then I can walk you through the technical stuff of participation if you have another 5-10 minutes.
Yes.